Brodie. So I hear a lot that gated content on LinkedIn is a no-no. Never gate content on LinkedIn. Is that BS?
Yes, it is BS. I'll tell you why. Because people like to do these extremes and put something out there that's shocks the mind a little bit. And marketers have been doing gated content for a long time, so it's shocking to hear I shouldn't gate my content, right? So that's why they post it. There is some truth to that. I will say there is some scenarios where you would not want to gate content. The way we do content for our clients and what we do here at Demand Machine is we always recommend doing ungated content, more like top of the funnel when you're just getting in front of a cold audience, like a target account list that hasn't heard of you before, etc. Especially using document ads as a new ad format on LinkedIn. It's very good for this. You could do ungated document ads, but then you can also retarget and build audiences based on people that consume the entire document. And then you go and feed those audiences into the lower of the funnel campaign. So then you push them over to Mofu, Bofu, etc. based on the engagement. And then you would want to gate those assets because that's more important. They're more closer to buying. They're already familiar with your brand, your product, your service. So I think it's a combination of both. I don't think it's doing one or the other and not doing any gated content ever, because you still ultimately need to see who it is that's engaged with something so you can then follow up with them.
On the topic of gating then, so say you end up making the decision, where in the funnel, what works for you as a marketer, you gate that content. Any best practices on how to gate that content in a way that doesn't completely check me out as a consumer of that?
This is why I like to separate things from top, middle, bottom funnel, because if you're asking me to provide you my information and I never heard of you before, I'm not probably going to do it unless it's really something that I want to know, which goes back to the type of content you're creating in the first place, right? You need to create valuable assets that people actually want to download and put time and effort into them. Gating recently on LinkedIn, since they made the update where you can request work email versus personal email, because the problem with LinkedIn lead gen ads before and gating assets just through the LinkedIn platform was that the pre-filled form fields were all personal email addresses, right? LinkedIn recently made an update a couple months ago where you can actually request the work email instead, so it's not pre-filled with their personal email address. Now sometimes they will still put their personal email address, but you do get more work emails, which is obviously more useful to the sales team. So I would use the LinkedIn lead gen forms, and I would split test the landing page as well. Usually when you send traffic to a landing page from LinkedIn, since the CPCs are so high on LinkedIn, you have to have a really good conversion rate on your landing page for it to work well. So I'd split test both depending on your product or service and the content, but I'd try both, to be honest.
What we've been doing too for one of the clients that seems to be working really well is we have document ads promoted. The entire document is available to view, so that's completely ungated. But then we have an option where they can download, that we're collecting leads that way. So it's a bit of a combo with that one. And that one's been working pretty well.
Yeah, because then if they do consume and they get to the end of it and they want to download it, that's definitely, the exchanges work well to them. They'll provide you information, you get a lead in your database, and you can actually add them to other lists in the future and market to them in other areas, move them in different parts of the funnel, etc. So yeah, I agree. That's a really good tactic.